Hey, hi everybody.
Hey.
Hello, world.
Hi.
This is
Welcome.
the creative team of the National Black Theater coming at ya for the download. Which part are we on? We're on part
4.
episode 4.
You
Wow.
are
Episode
the
4.
completion of the cycle.
Because in a lot of ways, we're in December. Shifts have hit the fan. We're heading into 2021. There's a lot. And I'm glad to be here with you all. I really do enjoy our time together for these here downloads. So yeah, let's get this party sorted with a check-in. Today, I'd like to uplift the fact that I'm in Washington, D.C. on the ancestral lands of the Anacostan, the Piscataway, and the Cotchtank peoples. D.C. is not a state. We are still trying to organize for statehood. So there is that. Just wanted to uplift the land.
Come on now.
So let's go around. Tell me, give me a slight visual description. Let the folks know. And how are you getting your vibe right now? Let's just start there. How are you getting your vibe right now? I'll start us off. Okay, I'm wearing a black t-shirt with white lettering on it that says "Get Free."
Yes.
I've got on gold earrings. I've got a high ponytail with a bandana wrap. I'm in front of a bookshelf and a candle. How am I getting my vibe right? Candle. I also have a very special mug from a very special person, from which I am drinking a very special holiday beverage.
Oh, what's that?
An adult eggnog.
Ah!
Okay. So we're here for the holiday season. How are you getting your vibe right? Jonathan, I'm gonna send this to you.
Hi,
gift
Hi
giver.
everyone. Jonathan. I am in New York on the sacred land of the Lenape people in Harlem, the village of Harlem. Short description. Melanated cis man with wearing a light pink sweater that I just got. And I have a gold earring dangle on my right ear, and I smile a lot, so you'll just see a lot of smiling. That's what will happen. How am I getting my vibe right? I'm getting my vibe right by wearing my new pink.
You're gonna say it.
Come on now, you gotta wear the new pink sweater and allow it just to have its way. All right, it's having its world premiere on my body. All right. Oh, world premiere. All right. We didn't know
download is online shopping has changed Jonathan's life.
Yeah.
And without further ado, I pass it to Nia.
Hey, I'm Nia. I'm the interactive social media manager at NBT. Some things are happening with my lights, so my color right now feels a little pinkish and washed out, but I don't know. I'm wearing a red sweater, and I think those are the details I'll give today, because I feel like the less you know, the better you'll understand me. My vibe right, how am I getting that right today? I recently acquired a desk, which I did not have for the first 8 months of this remote work quarantine life. So having a stable foundation on which to work is getting my vibe set. Sending it to Sade.
Yeah, shifts hitting the fan. That desk life, proper seating. Hi, I'm Sade Lithcott. I happen to be the CEO of the National Black Theater. Visual description. I am a African-American woman that didn't mean to have a smoky eye, but time and the day has gotten the best of my makeup. And hair pulled back in a bun, wearing a kind of burgundy robe, sitting on a couch in front of a Yoruba painting. Pronouns she, her, hers. also in Harlem, also on Lenape land. And how I'm getting my vibe right every download, second Thursday of the month. I like to start it out with a little libation. Little cheers to the holidays. Cheers to enlightening the load and going on this journey with our audience at home and with this NBT at home family. Yeah. All day long I thought it was Friday, so I'm gonna bring my Friday energy to this download.
Well, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. There's like a wrap robe happening. There's just a luxe relaxation, which is goals.
Self-care.
Self-care. And that's actually a great transition. That's a great segue into shifts. Shifts, SHIFTS. Capital F, though. We're going to capitalize that F because there just have been a lot of shifts and shifts without the F that has happened. And so this is our time to like really process that. And like, where are we? How are we managing to stay alive in the midst of all of this? How are we managing to find ourselves here month after month, still looking wonderful and joyous and open to community? So how are we still doing that? How are we managing that? And there's lots of shifts. Let's start with just unpacking what are all the shifts. I can start us off with this daylight thing, this whole thing of the sun like vanishing at an earlier time. It feels like to me, I feel it's not that I feel trapped, but I feel trapped. Like I feel like, oh, I've got to get outside while I can, grab a little bit of daylight. You know what I mean? Interrupting my workflow so that I can take a walk, because that's something about that sun and getting to be out in the sun, in the daylight. It's like, for it to be shortened, I feel is testing my resolve. So there's definitely processing this shift of the weather, this shift of time, this shift of light. That's coming through for me. I'm gonna pass to who else wants to go?
Upload what you're saying. Also, this season for theater in particular, like the fall, winter is when we're announcing everything. It's where everything is birthing. And to not have that, to your point of like feeling the daylight, like ending sooner, us all being in our homes with like the numbers going up. It's like such a mind fuck for our community in particular that produces and makes theater, because this is usually the most festive, look forward to the months to come. And yeah, so anyway, I just want to add that.
I mean, the crazy part is that I spend so much time thinking about the weather, like how cold is it outside versus like what activities am I doing today? Because like I'm like, I want to go outside, I want to be able to be in some fresh air, but like it's about the layers. So like what I got a pink sweater, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just this real sensibility that wasn't there before. And like the idea of the sun is actually super real. Like I wasn't counting when the sun went down before. I don't think it was a part of my lexicon before. Like, but now I'm like 5 o'clock. Like like it's dark, and I'm trying to figure out how to shift. Even I have to even say for me, even like I have Apple products. They do that daylight shifting. I had to stop that because I wouldn't do work if it was all dark screen. That whole dark screen thing was just like, it was too dark. It was dark on dark on dark on dark. I was like, nah.
What does it do? It like changes the background tint or something?
It changes the background tint to black. It changes the top. Like
Janelle, we love you. Thank you.
Huh?
Oh,
shout out to Janelle. We love you. Thank you. You're like, I use Apple products.
I'll stop there.
No, I mean, but that's real.
I want to say, like, Nia does an incredible job with our social media and amongst other things. But one of the posts, if y'all don't follow National Black Theater on Instagram, here's a formal invitation to follow us. this post from November 28th, the week of that some celebrate Thanksgiving or Indigenous Peoples Day. This sums up the shift hitting the fan for me all year long. It is a photograph of a chalk artist writing on the sidewalk. I thought 2020 would be the year I got everything I wanted. Now I know 2020 is the year I appreciate everything I have. That encompasses the shifts. The most significant shifts for me this year is just the depth of gratitude, right? Jonathan talked about, like, I check the weather, like the connectivity to environment, ecosystem, community, the leaning into the needs of others, right? Every day that you put that mask on, you're thinking about the needs of others, you're incorporating community, like that act of relentless love. Wearing the mask is not just about keeping you safe, but it's like, I am my brothers, sisters, I am their keeper, and they are mine. And so that for me has been one of the biggest shifts and has widened the aperture of, I feel like, NBT's work, but absolutely my work in the world, which is that we're responsible for each other. Like in profound, big, and like minutia ways. And so, and that the air that we breathe is the same, right? Literally, which is why we mask ourselves in this act of love and responsibility. And so for me, the shift hitting the fan is this walking with gratitude differently.
Oh, is it Nia? Do you want to go or I can go?
I can go.
Yes, take it.
In terms of those shifts, I like to do like a lot of personal quizzes just to see where I'm at over time. So like I am more of an INFJ than I've ever been. There's like a turbulent thing. I'm not turbulent. I am an introvert. I am intuitive. I'm all those things, even more. But the shift that I saw was actually like in my love language and understanding that like intimacy has ranked the highest it's ever been because I am craving connection with others. And so even though there's a lot of like external shifts happening, I like to just like bring it into the self and be like, okay, where am I at? How am I responding to this moment? And how can I service those shifts? Knowing that like intimacy is ranking higher on like a love language, how can I bring touch in like a safe way into my life? That's what's been on my mind.
Can I follow up on that? Because I think that that's profound, Nia. Intimacy in this age of our boxes where no one has legs.
See our first download in which I lost it at the fact that no one had legs.
That's a throwback.
Inside jokes. This is so great.
How are you achieving that level of intimacy? Or how do you look at intimacy differently in the space of social distancing and virtual and digital reality?
Spending a lot more time like just in silence with friends, like not feeling the need to like fill space in any way. But when we're on FaceTime, there's just like an acknowledgement of like the other person that's there, and it like feels cheesy, but just like a lot of staring and just like gratitude that I am able to like share space in this way and have it be separate from like staring at people on screens for like a meeting or something like that. I'm so blessed that like my roommate has a dog, in which like that is a source of so much comfort, just to be able to like cuddle Theo and like to have a lot of textures around me that give me comfort. That is like, I just need to remember that like I'm a body and like I can experience like sensations other than numbness in a way of protecting the self.
That's so real.
There's so much in there. There's so much in there.
Sorry, this is Chelsea D's download, and I have imbibed. But I do want to
This is the download right here.
Fortunately or unfortunately, Jonathan and I share the same therapist. No, it was going somewhere, and I feel like I might have forgotten it, but it was What was the last thing that you said, Nia? Because it's something that Imani always
Intimacy.
says. It was
Textures.
textures,
Your body.
Remembering
Your
that I'm a
body.
body and I can feel sensations other than numbness.
Yes, that's what it was. Thank you. So Imani really blew my mind in that, who's our mutual therapist, Jonathan and I, through COVID, shift hitting the fan, we literally live 100 feet away from each other and share the same therapist. But it stop it, y'all.
There's a TV show in there. Like there's a whole.
Oh, we are so Three's Company. Come and knock on our door.
Right, exactly.
Oh yeah, no. The other day was the funniest thing. So she was like, Shade was making tea, and she was like, I want some honey, and I was like, oh, I have honey for you. And then she was like, Jonathan, it's late at night. You don't need it. I was like, I haven't been outside of my house all day. You need to go across the street and I give you some honey.
Let me bring you honey.
Let me bring you honey. That's all I want to do. All right, I'm done.
I mean,
Now I forgot it again. No, okay.
Numbness. I'll
Thank
say
you.
once again, I'm feeling
Numbness
numb.
is the key, in case I forget it again. So what was very interesting is that what Imani said was like, we're living through very traumatic times, right? And Black people in particular, you know, a lot of our trauma, generational trauma, is complex. So it's complex traumatic syndrome, and that the numbness that folks are feeling, which makes you feel depressed or lazy or inadequate or insecure, all of these things that come from the numbness is actually disassociation, which is an absolute textbook response to trauma. And so I wonder how many people in our community are walking around numb, disassociating, and using that as a point of judgment of themselves, being hard on themselves, as if that reaction is specifically connected to lack in their life. Like, I'm not energized enough, I'm not working out enough. But in fact, it's really a call from the universe to inform us that we are having a response and a conversation with our trauma. And so I think that it's interesting, sorry, Nia, that you would say like this numbness, because I think a lot of people in this moment in time are feeling numb, right? Like, I'm laughing and drinking tequila. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Talk about it, Chelsea D.
I mean, I've definitely I was just walking in the woods the other day thinking to myself, it feels like the great thaw for me. It feels like I'm starting to feel and remember that I have feelings and that they change, and that, you know, anger is okay and rage is okay. Like, it's all there. And to be able to, I was saying this to someone earlier today, you know, it gives you are a human being, and to give your humanity dignity, you have to really claim and step into your right to feel everything, to feel the depth and the height and the width of all of your emotions. And I find that as a protective measure, you know, there's so much, I think, you know, trauma that we have all experienced collectively with each other, within ourselves. I mean, it's all around us. And so this is a moment where shift is hitting the fan, in the sense of that's all coming up. It's all coming up with the type of virus that we're battling, a disease that is something that requires us to care. It requires us to think outside of ourselves. It requires us to thaw. It requires us to open ourselves up to letting people love us, and letting ourselves love people, and letting ourselves need people, and letting ourselves, you know, smell and touch and taste. Jonathan, do it.
No, but the vulnerability. No, but let's talk about
Yes,
that.
but
The
that is it.
vulnerability of letting someone in. The vulnerability of letting someone in and actually feeling again. The vulnerability of actually having to know that, like, your protective armor that was called your busy schedule is no longer the thing you can hide behind anymore. So then what are you hiding behind? What are we hiding behind? What do we consistently find ourselves hiding behind in order to be able not to live a full, abundant life, a full, free life? And like, there's so much medicine captured in the pause. But yet Yet.
Talk about so much medicine captured in the pause. That's it.
No, and the shift. I mean, and the shift that has hit the fan is that are you allowing for the discomfort of that pause to teach you what you were missing from living? Like I was talking to a couple of friends yesterday. Yep. We had a vision board session, right? And it was totally dope, totally cool. Felt so cool about it was great to do. And we were just talking about how before then we're all in arts entertainment, and we were talking about how we have missed so many moments, so many weddings, so many birthdays, so many moments to say goodbye because someone passed, so many vacations that we wanted to take. Because of the job, because of putting the job before our ability to experience life. And so the question is, as we take this pause, what are we taking stock that we will not budge on when we're able to start the engine back up? What fan? Because the shift has hit the fan, right? What fan do we now turn on? What? When you think of the stages, if we were on the third setting, are we going to go to the 2 setting or the 1 setting? Or are we just going to stop? What does it mean to actually honor the stop, right? We don't disvalue a fan because it stops working. We don't devalue a fan because we stop it from spinning. We don't devalue it. It still lives up in our ceiling. We turn it on when it gets too hot. So maybe there are seasons, ebbs and flows when we're supposed to be working at the rigor in which we were, but not forever. And can we own that? Like I really sat with, when I think about the shift hitting the fan, I really sat with this notion of what is it, how do I love myself? How do I love the space of my reflection to the place where I actually allow this man that has, and I take stock of the blessing, because the blessing is the cultivation of my life, not necessarily just this one moment, right? This moment can be a part of that, but the cultivation, I have on some level been blinded by not taking in the moment that, like, repeating over and over again, the moment that Michelle Shea said, you need to talk to Sade Lithcott, National Black Theater.
Michelle Shea.
The moment, thinking about the moment of when I was told that I wasn't accepted to any private high school, but then I was forced to go to Duke Ellington. Like the curiosity of sitting with the pedagogy of your life. Your life has a pedagogy to it, and this moment that is wisdom. And this moment of the shift hitting the fan is the moment of actually, if you really wanted to, if you actually really want to sit with it, is to say how brilliant and blessed and grace-filled you are. And not to say that nothing traumatic has happened. Yes, it has. Yet, when I made that vision board yesterday, I got to allow my tongue to sit at the seat of abundance. I got to remind myself of the space in which I walked into 2020. I walked into 2020, as many of you might have, saying, perfect vision, I'm getting mine, I'm getting X, Y, and Z, 2020, all this is happening, and look what happened, 2020, perfect vision did happen. Clarity did show up.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean, but that clarity that didn't show up didn't mean it was lack of abundance. That clarity that showed up didn't mean that it was made from a deficit. That clarity that showed up means that there was a different direction that we all could take. So I'll stop there.
That's it.
That's the download.
Thank you.
And
thank you all so much.
2020, y'all. But I really do love this specificity, because I do hear people like, I see a lot of stuff of people being like, oh, 2020 is trash, and like, oh, I didn't get this, and this didn't look the way I wanted it to look, and like, oh, it was hard, and I felt a lot of bad things, and it was dark. And I get that. But I also think what was the propeller in the fan, right, that caused the shift to hit it. The thing that was propelling that, I think, is that lack of vulnerability. It is that not giving ourselves space. It is that hiding behind the work. It is hiding behind the hustle. Oh my goodness.
Hiding behind the hustle.
I'm like, that just dropped.
Come on now.
That dropped.
No, that was found. Thank you so much. I needed that. Hiding behind the hustle.
because that's what, I'm starting to realize that's so much about what it was. It's like, what am I doing?
Oh, that is a word. Don't just hide behind their hustles. And sorry, go. Sorry.
I mean, that's it. Like,
that's the thing about Black folks in particular. So much of our value is tied to our labor. I know that is it, hiding behind the hustle.
Yes.
So much of our value since we were dragged and stolen and brought to this land, our value is based on our labor, and that has translated in a 21st century like the hustle. But the hustle is slavery if you're hiding behind it, right? So like you're like, yo, it's all about the hustle, but is it? Because that is so colonial.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And it allows us not to have to be present and vulnerable and fully human in relationship to our pleasure and our pain.
Yep.
And it's valued because that's how we were valued.
You get more work.
And it's also valued because it creates a capitalistic gain for somebody else.
I was gonna say,
like
our money off that.
For us. We think it's for us.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a hustler. Like, I'm slinging this for me, or I'm working on this for me, or this is my business, or whatever.
Match my hustle. My hustle.
But is it?
I'm tired.
I love it. I love the lean in you.
Is it? Thank you, Z-Way, for giving me that gesture. Like, anytime I want to question someone, it's like, oh, I'm working for me. Are you?
And look, and skin is flawless, right? And the top skin is flawless.
Thank you, ring light.
Now, come on.
Can I ask a question, kind of dovetailing on what Jonathan's download just was, which is, what are you taking with you into 2020? Like, what are you taking with you when shit starts to feel normal again? What lessons? What practical shit, what tools in your toolbox, what weapons in your arsenal from this period of time are you never looking back from? Are you bringing wherever you go?
Never looking back from. Thing that just jumped in my mind is like desperation. I don't want to go to a place of operating from desperation ever again. That just leads to exhaustion. It leads to a freezing of myself so that I'm able to get more done, to produce more product. I mean, it's
low vibration.
Yeah, and it keeps you there. And so I don't want to go back to that desperation, and I don't want to go back to a closeness of space. I want spaciousness. I want spaciousness inside, spaciousness outside, spaciousness between two people. I mean, intimacy. Something I've learned in quarantine is like the world between two people. I mean, that is a universe in and of itself. You could spend so much time just trying to understand the person you're sitting across from. And then the person that you're sitting in, which is yourself, is like, oh my gosh, you can go forever. So those are two things: desperation and being small, allowing a tightness to come around my creativity and my flow and my light. Should I pass it to somebody?
Who wants to pick it up? Because Jonathan, you set this off by saying I'm never going back. So what you taking forward?
Come on now, Harriet. Oh no.
Forward loading. We lost Jonathan.
Bye, Jonathan.
Yeah, you were talking about intimacy. Is there something that you're absolutely taking, like after quarantine is up, after people may or may not choose to get a vaccine, when you enter back into IRL in real life, like what has this period of time, as we think about the end of the year, enlightening the load, what's you taking with you?
Yeah. My best friend recently had her birthday. And she's like, when I come back, we're going to share a little infinity together. It's like, I love that so much. I mean, it's exactly what you were talking about, Chelsea, where it's like there is a universe in between two people. And so to like let go of the constraints of time and the feeling of urgency and to just carve out a little infinity. Like that is what I hope to take with me in 2021. Or I don't even want to like put years on it, because like, why not just do it tomorrow? I am having actually like a really difficult time with the idea of like a reset on December 31st or January 1st. Like, I think all of the things that are haunting us now will continue to haunt us at whatever these arbitrary dates that we have set.
Right.
So I'm trying to be like really honest with myself about like, what didn't I do in this supposed pause in this time? Like, I think I'm still learning what I want to carry with me, because I know I didn't take the time to like grow in this space over the last like 9 months. Shada, you were talking about like, it's been 9 months, which is like a gestation period as we know it now. And so like, what is like being birthed? And I really feel like I want to at least like drop the December 31st and just like emerge 9 months and be like, okay, I'm going to look at the world, walk through the world in like a new way, new eyes, and just like understand how I want to go through it moving forward.
Ashe.
Like coming out of your chrysalis.
I feel like the same thing in that like January 1 means nothing. I mean, the work of because everyone thought 2019 was so hard. When the year happens, it was like, wow. And also, we have been birthed again so many different times throughout this period, right? And like, so I shade to like, I'm letting go of the boundaries of time, right? So much of how we operate and interact and be with each other is about time. But if COVID has shown us anything, what is time? I literally woke up today, made pancakes for my son because it was Friday. And I was like, it's Friday all day. I was like, looking forward to the weekend. And then Jonathan was like, "Are you going to join us on this meeting?" I was like, he was like, the meeting we have every Thursday. I was like, well, it's Friday. The point is, it's like, what is time? Like, if I take anything forward, time is really a construct. The only thing exists is what we make of it. And so time is a part of the boxes that we have been, trained and indoctrinated to live in order to be controlled. And I'm not trying to be all esoteric, but it's true. Like, how do we share that infinity space between us? Like, what is January 1st, really? Like, if you've been in your house for 9 months, the fan birthing something, like, what is January 1st?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm bringing with me. Like, time is a construct. We all get to architect the time, space, and relationships in which we live. And the demarcations that are given to us for us to care and feel about may not belong to us. And so we get to choose that. And I think that is powerful. And it's almost too powerful, because what happens is, because time doesn't exist right now, like, does not exist.
It does not.
We don't have weekends anymore. We don't have vacation. Very inhumane, because we've been conditioned to have these boundaries that are time, seasons, indoor. Like, none of it exists anymore. And I think a lot of people are running the engine ragged because we don't have the information literally of time in the same way. And we don't know why we're so exhausted, and we don't know why we're so depressed, but it's because literally the matrix by which everything is measured has been thrown out the window. It has hit the fan. And so I shade what you said, Nia, because I'm bringing that into the new normal, is that we get to choose, y'all. Like, we get to save each other. We get to find time and space and intimacy and infinity, and it can exist in real time all the time if we choose it and we design it and intend it. And so that's what I'm bringing in. And thank you for that download, Nia, because that is really profound.
Jonathan is back.
Oh yeah, no, I had a whole. My computer just shut down, just completely shut down, and like the battery wouldn't last, and I was trying to throughout the whole. Everyone was talking. I was like, oh, let me try this.
Oh, you were like pleasantly smiling while
I was like,
with your fingers.
oh yes, oh shit is hitting the fan, y'all. Shit is hitting the fan.
For those who are joining us, we're saying shift.
Oh, shift.
HIF.
But what I will say, in our initial meeting, I did not hear the F, and I was willing to go along with it.
And so, what's so interesting is that the moment you said, "What are you bringing, Jonathan?"
A break. I'm off. Literally.
When I think about what I'm bringing into 20, when I'm thinking what I'm bringing into 21 is that what I want to leave is this notion of I want to walk into 21 with the kind of courage that I lived. I lived my life regardless of the society that tried to kill me since I was born, or tried to stop me from being able to like go to the schools or be educated or consider myself smart or see myself as an attractive human. Like all of those things have helped me I lived a life regardless of that. And I want to return back to that. I want to return back to that courageous space and not be inundated by the fear doctrine, although it was important doctrine, but the fear doctrine that that the media instilled inside my body. And I allowed that in because that's what I was consuming. Sade would say during the pandemic, "You really were really informed. You watch CNN all the time. You be watching." That's smart. And I just think, and I just think there's a balance that I need to now curate inside of that because the only way I've been able to be right here, right now, talking to you, and the place that I'm talking to you, and how I'm talking to you, is because there was a courage. There was a courage that showed up and said, regardless of what someone else is saying or what someone else is doing, regardless of what a police, whatever's been told to me, if I know myself, I trust myself, and I live inside the intuitive nature of what I'm called to be, I will be taken care of. And also, on some level, I lived in a body and a self mind saying, if it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. And go can mean multiple different things. Multiple, that could be pass on. It could be just go X, go Y, go Z. And I think that that's a very important thing to think about when we start to think about the things that we bring with us from 20 and the things that we walk into for 21. What is the playground that we're providing for our joy to show up in? That's not regulated by the patterns of society.
I mean, that's a really fabulous segue to something that I was thinking we could talk about earlier, but like speaking about playground for where the joy will emerge and manifest and be cultivated. Thinking about this idea of what are people saying? What are we hearing people saying? Can y'all speak a little to the redevelopment that was announced or that
yes, Chelsea, you better hit all the marks.
But yeah,
it just is throwing things down the stairs like that's okay.
Yes. And the appearance, everything.
Yes,
right
now. Tell us about the building, T.
Afro. Come
on, T.
Poppin'.
Hey.
Gonna break the internet out.
I know. Look at those curls.
Gonna break the internet.
Gonna break the internet.
T, you want to come sit with me? Yeah. We're talking about the future, which you are. Oh, bye.
He said leaving that in 2020.
I'm going to 21. He's like, I'm going to 21. I ain't in 21 more.
Enlightening the load.
And he's like, I am enlightening. He's super clear. He was like, no. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Yeah, I will start. So on Monday, we announced the redevelopment of our property. It has been this crazy labor of love, so much invisible, heavy labor to transform our facility, our home, y'all's home, away from home, into the ultimate dream that Dr. Tier dreamt up, right? So, like, Jonathan can take it into the future. I can bring you into the present. So, Dr. Tier, my mother, I think she is somewhere just like doing the holy roller, like hallelujah dance to her as Dr. Tier. Because she's always like, put some respect on my name. I'm like, Mom, who cares, Mom? I'm always like, whatever, the theater, which is yeah, constantly like Dr. Tier said, and she's like, yes.
Yeah.
So Dr.
like you got it. You got it. You got it.
Right, that part. She's like, that part. She is my download, right? So anyway, she bought the city block in which our building facility is on 125th and 5th in 1986 after a catastrophic fire in 1983. People thought she was crazy. She also people also thought Harlem wasn't investable, which is the biggest joke, right? Yeah, it is.
Right.
And she was like, no. She was like, I'm gonna buy not the building, I'm gonna buy the block. And she would always say, and I would listen to her say this in interviews in front of anybody, and I thought she was crazy, right? Like everybody did. She was like, it's the most famous address in the world. And people, this is 1986. Crack has devastated our community. AIDS has run rampant through our community. Harlem is still recovering from the riots in the 60s. Like, really, like, if y'all remember Harlem in the freaking 80s, it was wild for the night. And it was still home. And she was clear it was home. So she was like, I'm going to buy it because it's the most famous address in the world. And people are like, excuse me. And she said, yeah, 125th and 5th Avenue, go anywhere around the world and you say 5th Avenue. What do people think? They're like, New York City. They think breakfast at Tiffany's. They think opulence. 5th Avenue, you can go anywhere and people know that, like, they know what 5th Avenue, New York City is. And then go anywhere in the world and say 125th Street and people think Harlem, people think Black culture. And so she was like, I want to buy the intersection of the both and build a temple of liberation for our people. And that is what she did. And she did it with the resources we had at the time. And she did it in the way that it could be a step in the right direction. And so that has been our home since 1991. We bought it in 86, redeveloped it in 91. Our building is 3 stories tall, and I was talking to, shout out to Erin Washington. I was talking to Erin Washington this week, and Erin, I'm sure many people in our community know Erin. She's just a force. Erin is a student, though she is a professor, but she is a student of Dr. Tier's teaching, as we all are, no matter where we are in our career, right? And she said, and she has been going all over the world researching Dr. Tier. And she said, I found your mom's sketches of the building that wasn't even a building at the time. It was just in her imagination as a destination for where the shape has to be where the ancestors can find home. The shape has to be like the spaceship by which they find, like, we go beep, 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 and they find us and they land and they download. And so my mother was constantly looking at the built space as a bowl to hold the culture from the perspective of healing, from the perspective of our divine abundance, and ultimately our liberation. And so what many folks don't know is that this pursuit of redevelopment, of growing, of shifting, of expanding, of giving our people what we actually deserve, a state-of-the-art 21st century new space that is innovative in every aspect, from technology to the technology of soul, to your technology of soul, is what was her last breath. And so I get the privilege of knowing what her last breath was. And so Jonathan, myself, our board chair, Omi, my brother, have been working tirelessly for the last 5 years on what this new redevelopment is, that is rooted in our people, that is sits at the seat of what Dr. Cheer's vision was for, is an homage to her vision. And so we have finally come to the place where we are publicly facing and revealing what this partnership is and redevelopment is. And we couldn't be more excited about what we're about to build for our people, and what our home will be, and y'all's home away from home will be. And I think it's also a template for autonomy, for self-determination. Now, there is a sad part, right? And the sad part is, and I feel like this is a monologue and I don't want it to be that, but the sad part is, with every chapter that has to be written, a chapter has to end. And so we're moving out of our home. And we are doing ground up construction, which means our current home we will have to demolish. And no one wrestles with that more than myself. And Nabi and Abasola and the liberators, who have poured everything they have and are into this space. But we cannot be, just to the point we were making earlier, we can't be about our boxes, right? Nothing about us is about physical limitations. So the spirit lives on, and we are building back better. And we're very excited to be doing that on our property on 125th and 5th.
No, that was very, very clear. I mean, it's exciting. It's been I mean, that is what the pause provided. The pause provided actually more time for us to do some of the diligent work necessary to make sure that we are amplified in this moment, that we're able to capture the fullness of this moment. Because, you know, just to be very honest, before the pause, we were running a train that was kind of ridiculous. I mean, the kind of I don't want to call it a rat race, but the kind of race that we were going towards, for all the commissions that we were doing, all the partnerships that we were doing, all the productions that we were having done. It was really exciting. And although it was potentially going to rob us from having a conversation around this new building, that is the ultimate penultimate opportunity. I mean, how many theaters, let alone how many Black theaters, and let alone how many people get to be a part of construction in New York City. It is one of the hardest places to build in, and we collectively, and I have to say, it's a collective we. Every staff member of the National Black Theater, every artist who has been a part of the tenure of National Black Theater, the moment of that announcement is a culmination of your trust, love, and belief in the vision. When you said yes to us, when you trusted us, and when you allowed us to be both amplified and be amplifiers for Dr. Cheer's vision, for human transformation through Black liberation.
And can I just say this, as we're enlightening the load, if y'all know Jonathan, he wears too many hats, literally wears too many hats. But this brother right here is also an architect. He is so badass in the process. We cannot wait to reveal what we're building. But I was like, Jonathan, you really do need to lose some skin.
I mean, the funny part,
and an architect.
Well, the funny part is that I always wanted to be an architect or engineer. The arts were not necessarily a part of my initial vantage point at going, like, even in high school when I was at Duke Ellington. And it's kind of
back again.
Ingenuous.
Another bomb moment. I love it.
The giggles.
Good night. He said good night. We're almost there too, y'all. But go ahead, Jonathan. You did not.
Oh no, that's it. That's it. It's really just talking and just uplifting the fact that, like, this moment, the moment that we're going to keep on revealing, the moment that we're going to keep on doing is a collective moment, and it's really exciting. And I mean,
that's another download. What we would have been if the arts didn't grab us, because Dr. Tier, her first major was biology. She always saw herself as a scientist, but she fell in love with dance and the arts. And some might say, in the same way that Jonathan is an architect and engineer, some might say that, like, National Black Theater is the penultimate experiment in Black liberation and radical, unconditional, relentless love of a people. So.
Absolutely. And there are Black people in the future. So let's Afrofuturistically dream about where we're going to be. Check out NBT's Instagram to read Dr. Tier's letter to the future. And you can always join or visit our webpage to get the link to actually write your own letter to the future, because that's what this is about. Empowering everybody to lay a brick in the foundation. So we have come. Oh, look at this! I feel like we're like getting ready to rest.
I mean, this is like we are
putting 2020 to rest.
You're putting 2020 to bed.
Yes.
Oh,
good night, moon. Good night, 2020.
Oh,
good night.
This is perfect.
That's coconut oil. This boy gets like the treatment that was coconut oil being applied before his slumber.
The royal coconut.
Put him to sleep.
Putting 2020 to sleep. Jonathan, do you want to take us out with a closing breath?
Yeah. So I mean, we want to invite everyone. I mean, it's right there. Follow us. I mean, there is a story to be told. There's a story to follow. There are opportunities to follow. This is the as they all like to say, the end of the year push, the end of the year pull, but also the push and pull into a new beginning, which will be 2021. So we invite you to follow us. If you are able to, making a contribution helps to make sure that National Black Theater continue to do programming like this, but also to kind of do all the other beautiful things that we're able to achieve for our community and for our people, especially with this redevelopment project. And then also writing a letter to the future. Chelsea was talking about it. Dr. Tier wrote a letter in 1991 to the future, and that letter seeded the foundation for us to really begin to feel fervently and excited about, because we actually got it about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, around that time Sade was talking about
Crossroads Theater.
From Crossroads Theater. Shout out to Crossroads Theater. Thank you for holding it down. Thank you for sharing it when you got it. But when we received it, it amplified the very space of what was possible. It made us very clear that, as Sade was saying, Dr. Tier is dancing, navigating, awakening, bringing space and bringing ideas for us to move forward. It is bedtime. So without further ado, we are going to do
No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. This is the download. It's whatever. It's happening. We are what in everyone's home, and the home life does happen.
We're in the mothership.
Harmonious, y'all. He is the best 3-year-old who is ready for bed and ready for 2020 to come to an end.
Good night.
So, Jonathan,
So, without further ado, we're going to take the unifying breath just to round us out. So, if everyone can put their 2 feet, wherever you are, digitally spaced, or wherever you are, planted firmly on the ground, allowing for Mother Earth to travel up through your legs, and now allowing the energy from the crown, the world, the abundant you to travel through the crown of your head and land to the center of your system. We're just going to take a breath together. I'm going to give you a little bit around my technology, what I know so far about breath, so that we're all on the same page. Breath is a very important thing. Breath is the thing that allows for this instrument, this vessel, this gift, this machine to operate. Breath is the thing that allows for the downloads and the downloads and the downloads to come and bless the crown down through all your chakras, root itself into your stomach, and allow the exhale that is sparked from that download to permeate out of your lips and to actually transform the world. So with that, we're going to take a unifying breath, knowing that the space and time we've been able to occupy, no matter what room you are in, will never happen again. This space will never happen once again. And so in 2020, we're going to take our last collective unifying breath. And the count of 3, when you breathe in, I want you to breathe in all of the abundance, the healing, the love, the aspirations, and the manifestations that you want to have happen in 2021. And then when you exhale, I want you to exhale it so they can manifest now. So that you walk into 2021 already clearing the deck of full manifestation, and you get to only exceed the possibilities of what can happen, the abundance that waits for you. So count of 3, inhale in, exhale out, and thank you for joining the ride with us. 4 episodes and more to come. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, inhale in, then exhale. Ashe.
Ashe. Happy holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Be safe. Take care of each other. Be love. Receive love. We got you.